cheerio, pip pip, and all those other Cockney things that people say in their Cockney way. I was hoping to get a bit of this chimney up here. Can you see any of it? Boy, the lighting was just right not too long ago, but that's all right. You know that's a chimney there behind me. We'll get through it one way or another. Look at these wings. Look at these, blimey. Day 63, can you even believe it? I hardly can, governor. Day 63. It's crazy. It's right mental. It's right mental. Alright, I'm going to drop the accent now. I'll bring it to you some other time. We'll talk of cabbages and kings and such. But I'm going to drop it to talk of other things. Gosh, I wish you could see that chimney more, though. That was the whole bloody dang buggering point of it all. It's alright, it's alright. I'll give it to you no matter. So it's me, Teal. And bringing you a special little ensemble tonight based on the content. So that is in fact a chimney behind me. It looked much better, 15-20 minutes ago while I was trying to dig for parts of this costume. The fact that I found these little wristicles, look at the intricacy of those buttons. These little leather wrist cuffs, that was miraculous. I was digging through all kinds of random drawers and pollywogs, and I came upon them. It's fine, I'll just slip in and out of it, alright? So yeah, this particular outfit is brought to you today by the theme of my poem. This one is for a dear friend, who is actually more like family. She is my fairy companion, and we are both fairy blood, and it makes life more magical, and you can stumble upon other fairykin and find them in your realm, but it also makes life sensitive and difficult in ways that are difficult, a wee bit troubling to explain to those who don't have a touch of the fairy blood. You know what I mean? So, yeah, either you've got the touch or you haven't, it's one way or another. You've got it or you don't. You get that extra sprinkle of it when they give you your stardust, or you don't. And we did. Blimey. Butter on toast, I tell you. So yeah, we both can relate very much to being fairies, to having a lot of sparkle, caring a lot about perceptions, dreams, nuances, behind the scenes and behind the scenes of the scenes, and yeah, just lots of layers to our sensitivities. And when we lived together, my fairy friend and I, it made life pretty interesting. Things got very, very beautiful, and also could go very dark, but in this way that we always learned from. It's where I first kind of started to pick up or learn my power for ceremony, or trust my power for ceremony. But so she and I went to a festival together called Fairy Worlds, and these were award-winning costumes. I had a few more sprucings of whatever you say, Bob's your uncle, pieces and bits and bobbles and such. Yeah, I had a few more whimsy zhuzhings. I love the word zhuzh, it just covers so much territory. Golly, it makes me sad you can't see that. Blimey. Schmiming. It's it's like a moon up there, isn't it? This lantern, you can sort of see the chimney. That's where I'd be going now if I had my sweeper. So that's a funny story too. So my fairy friend and I, we went to this fairy festival together, and it was all day fairies, all day, every day. The themes were good fairies, bad fairies, and then family fairies? What the heck was it? Man, I can't believe I can't remember the theme. Good fairy, bad fairy. I think, yeah, like family friendly fairy. I cannot remember. It's killing me. It's a, it's a, it's a crack in my memory. It's a crack in the foundation in my memories, and I can't find it. I'm digging around for it. Ah, shoikes. Zoinks. Ah. Meat and sausages. I think it was something like that. But, so we did mermaid fairies on Good Fairy Day, and then we were naughty little chimney sweep fairies on Bad Fairy Day. And we won this giant costume contest. I think maybe I mentioned it before, but it's one I like to brag about a lot. There's probably, I don't know, 1,100, 1,000 people in this costume contest marching around this huge parade. And there was just intricate wizards with like clocks on their robes and like these mystical horned beasts with horns that curled and talons that unfurled, and we won, we won with our sooty little wings. We took home the prize. We got to meet this like mystical Celtic 1800s band. You know, they played with like panpipes and such. It was so, I have never touched or tasted or swum in such magic. People like bathed themselves in the river, and there was just, everyone was living that mystical life to the nth degree. So yeah, it was pretty life altering. Like, all these fantasy creators were there, puppets that moved, dragon puppets, things from your dreams, you know? Yeah, so it was quite mystical, quite life altering, and I just could not believe that we won, we took home the big prize. But the crazy thing about our chimney sweepers, we had these Mr. Clean cobweb cleaners. They were like Mr. Clean brand, and they looked exactly like a chimney sweeper. They were a little short, so we attached them to like a broom end, spray painted them black. They had like little birds on the top. So it was just perfect. It was so perfect. And crazy, it was in Eugene, Oregon. The airport lost my giant chimney sweeper. I mean, it was as tall as I am. Got it on the plane, had to have its own luggage attachment, and it was this whole fiasco where they lost it, said it was lost. They called me back to the airport. Like, I live an hour away from, like an hour and a half away from the airport. They called me. They said, we have your weird, whatever this thing is. I was like, it's a chimney sweeper, obviously. Come on, people. So they told me they had it. I drove to the airport, and then they told me somebody stole it. I was like, wait, what? How did someone get past you to steal such a thing? It was just too bizarre to believe. But, yeah, we had such a fantastical time. And then one day we were hillbilly fairies. What did we call ourselves? Billy Pixies. Billy Pixies. And we had, like, corncob pipes, and oh man, it was delightful. Tiny little top hats with many feathers. It was just so creative and wonderful. And I talk about in here, she was the one we created our really elaborate, like, it was very much like a gothic sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Words are just evading me. I've given so many of them to you that now I'm losing them. I cannot even believe I can't think of this word. It's like basic theater nerd verbiage. But we were like a dark graphic novel, gothic, twisted, strange Alice in Wonderland. And it'll keep me up all night that I can't think of this word, but it's a fantastic vocab. Look at them little sooty wings. Look at them, their little sooty wonder. But yeah, so steampunk. My goodness. Slap me right on my butter eater. It's a steampunk. Obviously, come on, every theatre nerd knows that one. Um, yeah, every geek worth their salt knows that one. Blimey. So, oh, that's some fun shadows. Woo! So, yes, we were steampunk, goth, creepy, gender bending Alice in Wonderland. We made the whole cast for Halloween, and then we got let into this special VIP thing at Hollywood and Highland for the. Oh gosh, now I can't think of this. The theater, they show all the. Oh golly, it's driving me nuts. It's been too long since I've been there. Ooh. It's hurting my heart. It's hurting my heart that I can't think of the theater name, but they show all the Disney stuff there, and it was just such a special experience that we got in on. And now that you just fully can't see this chimney, I'm gonna like turn your attention more towards this sort of brambly bush thing, because it just sort of seems a little bit more, like my fairy self needs to be by this bramble bush thingy. So yeah, we got let in. You only got a wristband if you were like dressed to impress, and my golly goodness, we were. I had been doing art modeling, and I somehow managed to find a guy who worked for Mattel Toys to airbrush paint my purple bodysuit to be the Cheshire Cat. And my fairy friend was this like gender bending Mad Hatter, so fabulous, wonderful moustache with these groovy 70s striped pants. Like, she is the most impressive creator of Marvels. I've just never seen someone take some like freaking bendy twisty ties and ribbon and like turn it into a Marvel out of a movie. So yeah, we were crushing it, and we knew. I was like, we're gonna get wristbands. There's no way we're not going to get wristbands. So we were introduced the Alice in Wonderland movie, the newer one. Johnny Depp and Tim Burton came out and showed it to us, and my heart aches. My feelings have shifted for Johnny Depp quite significantly, even though I have a cardboard cutout of him in my basement. Don't get me wrong, I was just the biggest fan as anybody. I crawled through dirty feet to make eye contact with him. But our idols are not what we think they are always. Keep that in mind. But Tim Burton, I met him once, and then he, made eye contact with me that second time. And mystical, just mystical. And so we were in this theater with the most spectacularly dressed people you've ever seen in your entire life. Just it was life altering. I've never seen such craftiness and creativity. And we became friends with these girls who did like those birthday parties where you dress in all the different characters. They were so impressive. Crazy other long story. We went to Disneyland twice, my fairy friend and I was thinking she was doing all the scary rides with her friends, and I went to the like animation place in California Adventure, and I was watching this thing about the Little Mermaid. It was like a whole visual display of the Little Mermaid, and I thought of this chick. I'm just gonna say her name because she's kind of famous. Tracy Hines. You should look her up. You should research every single one of her costumes, because it's just it will change your perception of what's possible. So she's like kind of a celebrity, and I was like, Tracy Hines, wow, what a badass, because she's like an Ariel. She like made a living as an Ariel impersonator. She got like her own Hot Topic clothing line for Ariel stuff, like living the life, okay? And I was lucky enough to, communicate and talk with this girl, and I was sitting there watching this elaborate Little Mermaid thing, and I was like, wouldn't it be crazy if I saw Tracy Hines right now and I turned around and she was there? She was there with her whole family. Isn't that insane? I like said it out loud. So my fairy friend and I, we were always manifesting those kinds of things. Nothing was ever boring. It was never just like, oh, well, that was a day that was kind of went by as a day. It was always like, and then this happened, and then this homeless guy came out with a knife, and then this thing exploded. And we were always just like eating great snacks. And she had, I lived with her for a while. She basically saved my life. I was in a bad situation, and she let me live with her for a while. And she had like a 90s TV with like 90s picture quality and the knobs and everything, and we would watch like VHSs and cartoons and just eat the best snacks and save each other from the madness. And um, she's one of those friends where you always wonder, like, do people know what they mean to me? Do they know? And I hope she does. She really rescued me out of, I was like riding this very fine line of giving up on a lot of parts of myself and like letting them win, you know? And she wouldn't let me do that, and it changed my life. And her wedding led me to my love, whom I'm with now. And that changed my life. But even before that, she changed my life. And it's just hard to articulate sometimes. Even the hard things between us created this growth that I needed, that we both needed, that I think was like DNA altering, like gives you superpowers growth. And that's hard to come by. So I hope she knows. And this is just to show her, I guess, day 63, that, when you get two very powerful, creative personalities together, there's bound to be like shockwaves of some kind, or like turmoil in one way or another, some kind of reverberation of like, whoa, power meets power and showers power all over. And it's like, yeah, that's unavoidable. But gosh, you grow from that kind of collisionary, visionary wonderment. You can't help but grow in that. She taught me to be more fortified, to speak my truth more, to survive on whatever little bit was available, to, like I said, take the twisty ties and the ribbon and make the masterpiece. I mean, she taught me to utilize what was around me and know that the most powerful resource I would ever have was my own true self, and not letting that slowly be killed by the very difficult land of Hollywood where we were both living in a very tiny little apartment with very little money. So yeah, it was incredible growth, and this is for her. I read it to her on the day after her wedding. I read it to her. Ooh, the old the fairy pixie legs, they're getting a little sore. Sorry, that's more of an Irish thing. We can go Cockney, we can go Irish, we can go whichever way you want when we're living in a fantasy land. Just gotta stretch it out for a minute. But the title of this one, Finding This Again, allowed me to remember that she was with me when I received my dragon tear from Dragon Man, when the Dovekins were busking, and we housed half the Dovekins at her apartment and the other half of them at my other friend's apartment. And she was with me, and I can't remember, she'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that she received a dragon tear from Dragon Man on a separate occasion. Like, I think he plucked us out and gave us both our own epic dragon worthy moment, and that's special. That's really special. But she always showed me brighter parts of myself that I thought were hidden in a drawer or suffocated or killed off in some battle of destruction, whatever. There's just so many different kinds of battles out there, out in that land of competitive plenty. So yeah, I read this poem to her the day after her wedding, and you can hear an offering like that from someone, and it's not necessarily going, like, it has that impact, but I want it to stick to the walls. I just wanted to reiterate this love that I have for her, because I do know that we are both these big, vibrant, can't even ignore us for a second in the room kind of personalities, and I know that It creates splashes, unexpected splashes of confusion, or like, what did you say, or what did you mean by that? And that's okay, because we're both just bold and bodacious and beautiful and complicated, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Who needs timid friends, you know? Or who needs friends who are afraid to, like, wear something crazy and take to the streets and tell people that you are a fairy and not back down from that? We all need that sort of stick-to-itive, magical certainty. So I'm going to give it to you here. Day 63, we're just trucking right along. Goody, day 63, whoopie pie. So, yeah, there's another little story I'll elaborate on a little bit after I get through this. My legs hurt, but I feel like I'm at a good height for the camera here, so I'm going to give it to you. So this one is called Dragon Tears, Angels Love, and Earthquakes. We met, and we were already sisters. In a world of gossip and A-listers, we cared more about souls. Still, Tinseltown managed to drown some of our vitality and wear holes in our magic and wonder. We held tight to our truth, and still some was plundered. Criticisms thundered around our delicate hearts, but we thwarted those beasts with little chance. We still managed to dance on blistered feet. In the midst of defeat and ego, we'd grow strong enough to make survival an art. Heck, we went to undiscovered parts of Wonderland as creativity VIPs. We sang love songs to a heartsick midnight sea. We made a ceremonial plea to the sickly pink haze of a forlorn, aching city skyline. We dodged arrogant landmines too many times to count. We elevated the amount of imagination in the ozone. Every time we braved the orange cones and polluted air, we dared to be more fairy than human in a place unkind to both. We swore a full moon oath to never lose our sparkle, not for any big deal or contract, not for any crispy stack of cash or fast lane to recognition. We conditioned ourselves to survive with soulful diving, Parmesan popcorn, and Rainbow Bright cartoons. We tuned our frequencies to opuses and reveries, unheard and unseen by the driven and the jaded. We made sincere wishes by the Ferris wheel and waited. A land with many hooks baited by the promise of perfection, and we spun our shimmer wings in the opposite direction. Dodging them while doing all our own stunts really stirs the adrenaline. We'd finally settle in, and a plot twist would come knocking. Vitality vampires and blank-faced beauties flocking to the coastline. But we guarded time and gathered it in corked potion bottles. We eased the throttle of the freeway traps with intention setting, making coded maps of our true selves to reference in times of certain doubt. Sometimes that uncertainty came in whispers, more often in rumbling shouts of fury. The hope and whimsy could get so blurry. But we'd scurry back to the source of it and stash it in between book pages. Big city sages, glittered and outrageous. What a rush, what a rush, what a rush. Once we clung to one another through a surprise midday earthquake. For the sake of doing it any justice, I can only say it thrust us into another dimension of stillness appreciation. We both instantly thought it was a monster. LA has a reputation for harboring such anomalies. The rattle made us pale and cry and freeze in one spot. And it's an analogy, really, for overcoming scary thoughts. The ground shook us. Villains took us far from our centers. And that's when we fought. But we always got back to those inner truths. My fairy sister. Something divine sent her to me in a time when I felt so weak. until way past 3 a.m. we'd giggle uncontrollably and speak of the strange world, the summits, the sojourns, the swirls. And now, years have unfurled, and she's faced with a whirlwind more torrential than some could even bear. But through it, a clearing. And there she found what she was steering towards all along. Her beloved, her other, her heart song. Strong is not a mighty enough word for the warrior this woman has become. But I saw that power growing from a spark in the often all too dark Angel City. When we were starry-eyed and young and didn't know just how pretty. And now we choose to grow younger and more full of wonder. We have both known raw pain. But if I have gained any certainty in this, if I have gained any certainty in life, it is this. Love feeds the deepest hunger and thirst. To be loved is to be put first upon life's greatest, brightest marquee. To be held and seen and needed is the only way to be a true VIP. Woo-wee! My feet fell asleep, and it's all right. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, my legs are pins and needles. But yeah, that's just a little homage. I got emotional there towards the end because we saw each other go through some shit. We saw each other go through some dark times that tried to take us from ourselves. And that's weird to watch your friends go through those things. But we came out of it. And she lives in such a magical, mystical community of people just making this world better and stirring the pot for good and doing unbelievable tea ceremonies from ancient times. And I'm just in awe of her, honestly. Like, I have trouble putting pants with zippers on, and she creates these worlds, and she knows puppetry, and she she just attracts this love to her that is so divine and unique and speaks this whole other language, and finds people who speak it too. And yeah, she will never be subdued. She just is herself, and it has gotten deeper and deeper into that, and it inspires me. It lights that fire in me, that so few people have the kindling to light. She's bold and powerful and mighty, and owns this space in a room that it's like, ain't nobody else owning that space. Nobody else. There's no competition for like that grace and that like control of pain, I guess. It's like a control of the pain that she's gone through that she's turned into love and more beauty. And she's like made it into this hard diamond that then like bursts out. I don't know. It's kaleidoscopic, really. So this is just my little attempt at doing justice to some of that. And the earthquake, the story of the earthquake was so crazy because her friends lived right near or in the apartment building. It was either like right next door or very close by to the apartment building where the Wonderland murders took place. And we had just gone over there and heard the whole horrifying story, and we were laying in bed about to take a nap, and this earthquake came through, and both of us had the exact same thought at the exact same moment. It's the murderer. Like, we thought it was this murderer or this monster, and it was just so weird that was like our first initial, that shockwave came through, and it was like, a murderer! I don't know, it's just so cool. crazy. And, yeah, we were, that's what it was. That's what it was. We were trying to find the motivation to go to this like VIP invite bottle service. Everybody's somebody. Oh my God, you have to be there. And we were like, no. Like, that just sounds so terrible. And then the whole apartment shook and all those crazy feelings washed over us. And anyway, just stories on stories on stories. Her Parmesan popcorn was life altering. It was food porn of all food porns. Like, just, oh my gosh. I am taken to an emotional taste bud place right now just thinking of it. But yeah, I hope she knows how much I learned from her and how much she saved me from the brink of not being who I was. Like, just letting go and being like, okay, everybody else wins. I'm just gonna be this, like, flat-faced, don't care no more person. And she pulled me from the brink of that. And it was a really dark, scary place. So I hope she knows how much I love her face and every other twinkling part of her. And I hope she appreciates this homage. Our little sooty wings. We came in with these sooty wings and we stirred things up. We stirred things up good. We'll sweep any chimney for a small fee. Yeah, I love her so much. It's so cold. I could say so many other wondrous things about her. I feel like I'm leaving out like 60 gajillion really good stories. Her laughter is literally the best laughter you will ever hear in your life. It is contagious. It is outrageous. It is on these tonalities that like you will never hear unless it is like a computer altered cartoon laughter. Like, and even then it probably couldn't be as good as hers. So I love her so dearly. I thank her with all my fairy heart for not letting me give up on my fairy parts, because that would have been a huge travesty. But yeah, I could pretty much talk about her all night. Her laughter could heal sickness. Like, it is a balm on the soul. It is like you just get on a roll with her and you are just peeing. Like, you're just peeing. There's nothing else you could do. You're just gonna pee. It's too funny. And we would just laugh like that until the sun came up. I mean, I could sit here and talk to you for 2 hours just about our Disneyland adventure. Just someone with whom you can squeal with. You know, we all need those friends where you can just squeal and be real. And that gets harder and harder to come by as the dreaded adulthood comes for you out of the dark woods and overtakes you. I hope some of my cool breath effect is seen. Adulthood. It's the monster of all monsters, I tell you. I tell yous, it comes from a dark well and it takes you over till you don't even know what's had you. But she didn't let that happen to me. She let me hold on to my twinkling parts. And that is something I can't even begin to express my gratitude for. So, yippee! Day 63! Just your average chimney fairy. Thanks for joining me. We'll do it again tomorrow for sure, and it will then be day 64. Come back again and see what's in store. Oh, there's a really big plane flying over me. That's a cool effect. But yeah, gosh, fairy sister, I love you so. Let's dig up more glowy memories and talk about them, and I'll write more poems about them, because it's important. Things stagnate, things go along, and days go by, and you have to remember the magic that you've stirred up, because it's impressive to do that beyond childhood. And we did it a bunch. We generated all kinds of legit-ski, super litty lit magic. And I'm very proud of that. So this one's for you, sweet sister. And yeah, love you all. Don't forget to get your chimneys swept. Hey, governor?